All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless Dave here on the Harmless Dave channel, talking about real music and doing it in real time for a few real people just like you there and like me here. So, I'm going to set the record straight about Bruce Hall right now. Do people care about this issue? I hope so. REO Speedwagon, a great American band. By the way, they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We'll start there. Why not? Why not REO? Hey, the Go Go's are in. The Go Go's are in the Hall of Fame, but Cyndi Lauper is going into the Hall of Fame. But excuse me, is this on? But REO is not in yet. So I've been doing some mindless speculation about Bruce Hall and the Kevin Cronin stuff, and maybe Kevin had a point about Bruce Hall. I had another video that went out and I took it down because apparently Bruce saw the video and decided to call me up with his wife, and which we had an amazingly cool, thorough conversation about all this stuff. Bruce and Kimmie Hall, these are like salt of the earth people. I'm just saying they are. They're good people, and we had a great time. I laughed. I was surprised at some of the things I was learning. Some of the things that I thought were true about the whole Kevin Cronin REO breakup thing. Some of those things were very true and even more true than just normal true. And I learned some things. And one of the things I learned is that Bruce Hall is fine. Okay. Despite what a couple of medical people said to me, Bruce is doing fine. Now, he had an injury, and hence he was trying to kind of put his arms behind his back. And, he's got a lot of nervous, fidgety energy. And this is something that has been with him for a very long time. Yes, his posture isn't quite perfect, but apparently he's still working on that. And I know somebody who works on this kind of stuff in my family. So who knows? Maybe we'll get Bruce completely fixed up where he's got no issues whatsoever. But the bottom line is he's got no other medical issues. And it was just great to hear about how well the REO University halftime marching band event went and how everybody was getting along well and how those four guys came together and got along really well for the day. In the same breath, it was a little disturbing to learn that this could have all been avoided as far as the end of REO Speedwagon. Kevin really thought that he could just take the ball and run it himself and be REO Speedwagon, and the other guys obviously didn't agree with that. You know the whole story. All of that stuff we talked about is definitely accurate. It goes a little further than that, I would say, but I'm not ready to talk about all that. I am looking forward to possibly talking directly with Bruce Hall sometime in the future. So look for that here on this channel, and Bruce will tell you what he can tell you. Apparently, there's a non-disclosure agreement because his wife kept saying, "Hey, NDA." So here I go. So Kimmie Hall, who is really a very nice lady. We spoke about all of this stuff with Bruce basically in the background, and she's just telling me the truth about a number of different issues, but said, my husband is fine. He's doing great, and he's ready to go back out on tour. Yeah. And wouldn't it be cool to have Neil Doughty, Alan Gratzer, Kevin Cronin, and Bruce Hall back on the road again with a guitarist to be named later? Okay, that's all we got. Player to be named later. But who knows who that could be. I'm thinking the fans should maybe vocalize who they'd like to see out there with REO Speedwagon. But it's good news across the board. So any of this crazy speculation I did about some onset condition that maybe Bruce Hall might be having, nope. He's healthy. He had an injury and he was kind of holding on to his arm and so forth because of that. And his posture was a little weird, but he's fine. And that's actually really good news because I was kind of worried that, 6 months from now, uh, they'd be reporting that, Bruce Hall has this issue and please, pray for Bruce Hall. Don't have to worry about that. What we do have to be concerned about, though, if you're an REO fan, is a possible opportunity, a real reunion opportunity, which could take place, who knows, maybe next year. Maybe these guys can get all their ducks in a row and get out there. It's a job, folks, for Irving Azoff, who's apparently already involved with trying to do something. And I was just goofing around like I always do about Irv. I mean, Irv is on it, man. He sees a money-making opportunity. He's going to go with it. But you got to have Bruce Hall in the band. And Alan Gratzer, who, I don't know, hasn't been around REO since like the late 1980s, right? And he's in as the drummer. I mean, that's just amazing. And you've also got Neil Doughty, who was kidding around about maybe not being able to get off the couch. I'm thinking he'd probably be in on this as well. And he should be, because he composed a lot of great keyboard parts. We were talking about the music. We were talking about the history of the band. We were talking about Terry Luttrell a little bit and Mike Murphy and just all these different people and how important they were. Obviously, we were talking about Gary Richrath and how he's kind of irreplaceable. But, you got to have somebody play guitar. So that'll be, I think, maybe up to the fans to figure out. Or if these guys do actually decide, maybe they'll take a vote or they'll do auditions, or maybe they will all bring someone to the table and then they'll make a decision based on that. But this is a band that I think needs a farewell tour, despite maybe everybody's problems with one another in the past. I don't think those problems are insurmountable, especially after what happened last weekend. That was the beginning of something. And I don't think Neil and Alan, and I don't know if Kevin chimed in on it, but I know Neil, Alan, and Bruce have all said, hey, yeah, you never know what could happen. So this is kind of breaking news for people who care about REO Speedwagon. I was telling them about how, I bought that High Infidelity album, and my mother was, she didn't like the cover of the album. And, I tell that story a lot, and they got a kick out of it. But I'm thinking 45 years later, I know, isn't it stupid? So 45 years later, I'm now talking to the guy who played bass on that album. So that's pretty cool. That's not bad in a day's work, right? To hang out with, at least by telephone, the bass player who played on one of the greatest albums, right? High Infidelity. You can't take that away from REO Speedwagon. And it's embarrassing that they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That would be another great way to get these guys back together again and on stage to showcase their music. And I think that's also something that should be talked about for 2026. I mean, there are so many bands that aren't in the Hall of Fame that it would be kind of surprising if REO finally got the call. But we shall see. As far as an actual farewell tour, though, I think that's a real possibility after speaking with Bruce and his wife. So we shall see. Before I go, I just want to thank Bruce and Kimmie for reaching out to me, for setting the record straight, for clarifying about Bruce's health and maybe the future of this band. And who knows? I said you guys should probably maybe put out another song together too, just one track, a new single from REO Speedwagon. I think that would be really cool as well. Like the last couple of years, though, the ball, I think, is really in Kevin Cronin's court. He's got to decide, do I want to do this with these guys? Do I want to go back to doing this at all? He seemed like he was very interested and very engaged last weekend, and these guys were very happy to see him. That's the truth. Now, for those of you who don't like Kevin, I did learn a lot of things about Kevin Cronin. That's all I'm going to say. I learned a lot of things, and it's probably better for another time. Okay. I just want this whole thing to work out for everybody. So I'm not here to bash Kevin. I'm not here to facilitate a reunion either, but I think it would be very cool if these guys had one more shot at this and got out there and just paid tribute to all the people who bought the records, bought the tickets, bought the merchandise. And Bruce and Kimmie said, "Hey, if we do an REO reunion, I get tickets." All right? So there you go. Especially if they're within driving distance. Otherwise, I'm probably not going to go. Now, I might still go. Who knows? But it's just good news. My thing was, I'm just really happy that Bruce is okay. And he's a really good guy. I mean, it's cool when you talk to people and you don't know them and you don't, you just, until you actually talk with somebody and you think to yourself, wow, they are really nice people. And they are. And they're normal, decent, ordinary people. Bruce has obviously lived a very interesting life, and he's been sober for many years. I learned that about Bruce Hall. Didn't know that much about his struggles, but I think that's absolutely inspiring and amazing. And let's hope and pray for an honest to goodness REO Speedwagon reunion. And I'll be there in the front row, me. That's not the most important thing. It's just getting these guys back together again and doing a proper farewell. All right, people. So that's a little slice of breaking news. Kimmie and Bruce Hall, great people. Go over to Facebook, say hello to them. They are the salt of the earth, and very nice to call me and to talk to me for like over an hour about so many different topics and issues. And they were as blunt and truthful as you can imagine. So thanks, guys, and thanks to everybody else. Don't forget, support this channel. Buy me a coffee, Patreon, YouTube memberships, PJ Rock Super Chats. Whew. And please subscribe if you haven't done that.